Mike in Virginia, 510-185. I have access to movie posters. Didn't know if you had this. Whoa! Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems? I didn't even know they did movie posters anymore.
30 seconds.
Well, I gotta get Dylan to frame that. If I can get him off his fat ass.
Fellas, as you know, today is Cinco de Mayo, and I translated that. It means 5th of May for those of you who don't speak Spanish at all. Got a C in freshman year Spanish. This is also another day. Now, I would like you to look at the picture on your screen. Dan, I'm going to start with you. When you were growing up, what would you call this type of sandwich? One word.
Sub.
Fritzy?
A hero.
McLovin?
Hoagie.
Seton?
Sub.
I went hero when I was a kid. I don't know where I learned it, even though I'm Midwestern. Now, this is interesting. Today is also National Hoagie Day. McLovin is from that area. It originated in the Philadelphia area. Andrew, can you guess what is considered the origin of the word hoagie?
Gosh, I have no idea.
I looked it up, and here's the first definition.
Now, I haven't. I think I might know it.
Take a shot.
Terry Hoag played at Georgia, and I think he played for the Philadelphia Eagles.
That is incorrect.
Oh.
Here's the one definition.
Darn it.
There was a place called Hog Island. It was like a port, and the workers there, the Italian workers there, used to make these sandwiches, and they called them Hog Island sandwiches, and then it just became hoggies or hoagies. It was debunked by Bon Appetit magazine, and they said back in the 1920s, a owner of a shop named Al De Palma saw some friends eating at this other restaurant and said, man, you got to be a hog to eat a sandwich that big. And these guys would order these big Italian sandwiches, but they didn't have a name. They were just big, like double-sized sandwiches. So he opened his own store and called them hoggies. And people think because of the Philadelphia accent, they became hoagies over the years. But Al De Palma in the 1920s created the hoggie, which is now the hoagie. And today we also celebrate National Hoagie Day.
I think it's the Terry Hoag thing. I think that makes more sense.
But
Makes
McLovin,
more sense to me, too.
You don't have a Philadelphia accent.
There really is no Philadelphia accent. We say the word water funny.
Water.
Yeah,
Like
we say
Ed Werder?
Kind of. Yeah,
water.
instead of water.
Huh.
There isn't a strong. Do you know? Have you guys ever noticed a Philadelphia accent?
It sounds like this. Boo, boo,
Yeah.
boo, boo.
You stink, Santa. I love your theory. Terry Hoag got to the Eagles. I just looked up at 86.
It's so random.
It's a good bit.
Yeah. Like I've been.
He's Patrick Ewing, the Georgetown head coach, a Hall of Famer, member of the Dream Team, and boy, he can't wait to tell you all the great things about the Jordan documentary. Patrick, where do we start talking about all the wonderful things about Michael Jordan?
Hey, look, I had to live through that. I had to live through him, all the battles that we had to go through. And now y'all have a documentary that I, have to keep, rubbing it in my face.
Are you watching?
I watch some of it. I watch some, I watch a little, then I shut it off and go do other things. Like I said, I lived through it, so I don't need to watch. I know he's great.
Were you interviewed for it?
Yes, I was.
And what did they ask you about?
They asked me a million questions. I think they might have showed me on it a small piece of it, but I think they interviewed me for about an hour.
I think you're coming up. I think you and Reggie Miller are going to get some airtime coming up. I told you this yesterday when I talked to Reggie a couple of weeks ago. Like, it's still painful for him. He hated talking about it, and the only reason why he watched the documentary is because I said, "Hey, will you watch it so we can talk about it?" He said, "It's no fun." He said, "It's fun for you guys because you get to watch it and go, 'Oh, Michael Jordan's so great.'" It was painful for us.
Oh, definitely. As fans, people are in awe of him. But we're the ones that had to battle him, and you can't, as a competitor, you can't think of him as, this Michael Jordan, one of the greatest players to ever play the game. You're out there trying to kick his butt, and you and your team are trying to do everything possible to try to beat that team.
Is there I look back, there's that clip where Mike's last trip to the Garden, And is it after the game where he said something about, I haven't handed out this kind of beating since 1984 when he was talking about the title game with you in North Carolina, Georgetown?
But it wasn't even that. It wasn't even a beating. We had an opportunity to win that game. We just, like every game, it's all about mistakes, and we made a crucial mistake at the last possession, turned the ball over, and they sealed the game. But that's just Michael. He's a great guy. He's a friend, but he's the biggest trash talker that I've ever met. Both he and Bird.
But when did he become a friend? Because, the Bulls and Knicks, you guys had real battles. But when did you become a friend of Jordan's?
Well, I think we've been friends ever since we met each other on my visit to North Carolina. He had already committed. That was the first time I met him, and we just developed a friendship since then. We played in the McDonald's game together. Spent some time then, and then over the years, our friendship grew. We both were represented by the same. We had the same agent. Both Dean Smith and Coach Thompson were great friends. So I think all of those things, gave us history.
How close were you to going to North Carolina?
You had to bring that up, huh? Imagine that team. Funny when I look back at it. If I had gone there, it would have been me, myself, Michael, Worthy, Perkins. That would have been a hell of a front line.
Oh my goodness!
But I made the right decision. I went there. I didn't like it as much as I thought I would have, so I chose to go elsewhere. And it's funny because Dean Smith told me, if you're not going to come to North Carolina, you should go to Georgetown. So I listened to him.
Yeah, good advice there. We're talking to Patrick Ewing, the Hall of Famer, Georgetown's head coach, member of the Dream Team. Do you know why Isaiah wasn't on the Dream Team?
No, I don't. But you might. Everybody speculates. Everybody, has one thought or another. I didn't worry about it. Isaiah, he was a great player and possibly should have been on the team. But, I don't get into all that the politics.
I always, what I heard, and these are reliable people that I heard it from, is that, Michael wanted an atmosphere that was fun. You knew you were going to win. You knew you were going to win the gold medal. Michael and everybody, they wanted to have fun. Mike wanted to play golf and, play cards and be with his guys. And Isaiah was not part of that fraternity. That this wasn't a basketball decision. I could have played point guard for you, Patrick. This wasn't about, hey, if we have Isaiah, we're going to win by 67 over Angola. It was just, I think it was about friends getting together, and that was the feeling I always had.
Well, to me, it was all about showing the world our dominance. We had lost in the previous Olympics. I remember we'd lost to Brazil, and I remember I forgot the young man's name. He was, yelling on the TV, "God bless America." So we were the SEAL. We were the A team that America sent to go kick butts and take names and bring and show the world the dominance that we have in terms of basketball. And because of that, we were like rock stars everywhere in the world. All those guys, or all those kids that were playing soccer, they fell in love with basketball.
You're not touching the Isaiah thing. I get it.
No, I'm not. Hey, look, my mother raised me right.
No, I got it. Hey, I got it. I just being a journalist. What do you remember about that practice where Michael and Magic kind of going at each other, and then Michael said there's a new sheriff in town?
Oh, I remember vividly. Those two are always talking trash to each other. Magic wanted to make sure that Michael knew that he still had game, and he had to go through him to get the throne. And Michael was, of course, as Michael is, always had a chip on his shoulder. He wanted to show him and the rest of the guys that he is the big dog. So, the practices were the best thing, best games. in terms of the games against the other country, it was a piece of cake. But going the games against each other, when everyone is trying to, impress our coworkers, those were the games.
Did Clyde Drexler show up with 2 left shoes to practice one time with the dream team?
No, why you bringing up all the negative things?
Well, no, I'm just asking. I told people this story yesterday that Michael was so rough on Clyde Drexler because somebody had the audacity to say Clyde was as good as Michael, or Michael, that competition that they had in the NBA Finals.
Right.
And I said there was a story that Clyde showed up with 2 left shoes for practice.
Well, Clyde is a great guy. He's a great competitor. But Michael, anybody who his Michael view as or people view as somebody that's close to Michael, he tries to do everything he can to demoralize them or to show them that he is number one. It plays these mind games with guys, and I think that both he and Charles were trying to play mind games with Clyde.
Did Clyde show up with 2 left shoes for practice, Patrick?
I plead the fifth. You have me on the stands. The lights are all in my eyes. I plead the fifth.
What did you keep from the Dream Team?
Obviously my medal.
Yeah.
I have my medal. I have the shoe, but I've moved so many times I can't find it. I have the medals, but it's funny because I had lost my medals because it was 92, and I moved so many times. I couldn't find both of my gold medals.
Oh boy.
And I was able to get it back. And I think my house got broken in New York. At one point, I think they stole my medal, so I was able to. I called Jerry Colangelo, and he was great to be able to get me 2 replacement medals. So I have my medals and I have my uniform, and apart from that, I think everything is in storage somewhere.
Had you ever talked about losing your medals? Somebody stealing your medals before? I had not heard that.
No, this is the first time. And Jerry, I spoke to because I had to get replacement medals. But yeah, this is the first time that I really spoke about it.
Did they take other memorabilia?
No, they took those. They did take my championship ring, my college championship ring, but someone tried to sell it on eBay, and I was able to get that back.
Man, that sucks.
Yeah, sometimes it sucks to be well known.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, I'd never heard that story. But thank God Jerry Colangelo was able to get replacement medals for you, man.
Yeah, see, he took care of me. He's a great guy.
Yeah. Are you going to watch? If you know you're going to be on the documentary, are you going to watch the episode?
I might watch a little and turn it back off. Look, it's like I said. I don't need to watch it to know what he did or how they beat us. I think it's great for the young generation to see how dominant he was. But I mean, everyone is. I don't even need to watch it. Every time something comes on, it's on, and I'm always getting a text. You're on. Oh yeah, I might try to start to use it as a recruit. It's funny because there's a recruit there, a young man that we, is coming to Georgetown, and he asked me who I thought was the better player, Michael or LeBron, and I told him Michael. So now he's texting me. He's like, Coach, I see what you're talking about. Michael was a beast.
But are your children asking you about Jordan?
My son, it's funny. Before I got on the call, I was on his Zoom call with his first grade class, and he's not really into basketball yet. But I was on the phone with Michael a couple of weeks ago, and he's like, "Dad, is that Michael Jordan, the guy that's on my shirt?" I said, "Yes, that's him." He's like, "Can I say hi?" I said, "No." Like, no, I don't want you talking to him.
Mike might trash talk your son.
Yes. Yeah, I know he would. I know he would. That's the kind of guy he is.
Oh, you're the best. You're the best. I did tell the story when we first met in San Antonio when Mark Jackson put me on the spot and said, "Hey, tell Patrick who you would take, either him or Akeem. And I said, Akeem. And then you let out the biggest laugh. And I think you even said, I might take him too.
Well, Akeem was a great player. We had a lot of battles. We were very similar. Unfortunately, the only time that I was able to play in the championship in the finals, I lost to him. But I guess he was getting me back for us beating the Houston Cougars in '84.
Yeah, Phi Slamma Jamma.
Yes, but Mark did put you on blast.
Oh.
But the funny thing is, though, Dan, that was the first time that you and I really sat down and got to know each other as people. Before, I just thought of you as one of those media guys.
Yeah. No, I came away from that dinner and I thanked Mark Jackson. I said, look, I'm glad you put me on the spot because and you even said, look, I appreciate you, being honest with me right to my face. Because before that dinner, I always loved Mutombo more than you. But after that dinner, it was you, Patrick.
Well, he's more of a people person than I am. I'm introverted. Mutombo, he's the life of the party.
Yeah. Oh, if people only knew the real personality you have. You hid that so well for so many years. And I went to Mark Jackson. I said, I'll be damned. He is funny with a sense of humor. And he goes, yeah, he doesn't want you to know that stuff, so don't tell people. And I went, oh, sorry.
But, when people see me or they judge what they see on TV, they see me with my game face on, my scowl. I'm playing, I'm sweating. I'm giving elbows every now and then. So when they make judgments on what they see on TV. But they sometimes they never try to get to know what the person really is off the court.
Good stuff. Great to talk to you. And go Hoyas. And I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Dan. And have a good one, man.
That's Patrick Ewing.
Oh, hard to run a radio show and cook at the same time, but that's what I've been doing. Oh, I'm tired. Maybe I could get somebody in the back room to do the dishes. They probably want me to do that too. Then I hear, social distancing, we can't do the dishes. And I go, I'll leave the room with social distancing. Yeah. Here last night, late. Got here early. Do that as well. And then I gotta take out the garbage. Let me see what's going on outside.
I heard that you went alcohol free for a little while.
Yeah, I did. I went 30 days. It didn't go 31, so no chance. It was
How was
it was very tempting.
How was 31?
31 hurt. I did not. It felt like yesterday.
What's your go-to?
Michelob Ultra. I like Michelob Ultra. It's good, man. It's nice. It's perfect, especially down here, man. It's warm. It's fun. It's perfect for the pool.
Why is it I play? Whoa!
Dog's going nuts.
What kind of dog you got?
I got a black lab.
Oh my God.
Barking. She's Jenna's taking her out now.
that scared me there. Why is it I play better when I've had a couple of beers when I'm playing golf?
It's so funny. Everybody just gets so relaxed, and it feels, they're not afraid to screw up anymore. It's amazing. You watch guys. It's literally there's that right zone though you got to be in. Yeah, you can get overserved a little bit too much, and then it's not very good, and then your game goes to crap. But there's a right amount. You got to find that perfect amount for you.
There is a fine line where it's like darts or bowling, where you go, man, I'm killing it. And then you have that next beer and you go, I'm getting killed. I'm not any good at this. Yeah, that's the way I am with
It's
golf.
amazing. You watch it every amateur, and then, especially like the pro-am, sometimes the guys are so nervous when they're playing with us. You're like, I know it's early, but you want to have a drink and, help loosen them up. It makes it fun.
I had the commissioner on a couple of weeks ago, and I said, why don't you, and I brought this up to Bubba Watson. I said, why don't you guys just carry your own bags? That way I take the caddy out of this. So even more social distancing. Like, let's see who can carry their own sticks. What do you think?
It'd be interesting. I think it'd actually be a lot of fun just to watch some of these guys attempt to carry their own bag. I don't think some of them have ever picked up their bag in their life.
Who
But
wouldn't
it would be fun.
Who wouldn't make it 18 holes carrying their own bag?
Who wouldn't make it 18 carrying the bag? That's good. I don't know. I actually don't think Bubba would. Bubba would be complaining how heavy the bag is the entire time. I love the guy, but there's no way he makes it around 18 with that bag.
Isn't he always complaining about something?
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious. He's a good dude. He's a good dude deep down. You just got to get to know him.
When you played with Jordan, trash talk?
Yeah, I did. I mean, you have to. Why not? And then he shut me up pretty quick. I think that was 4 or 5 years ago when I did that.
How does he shut you up?
We were playing. We were playing at Old Palm, I think, down here in Florida.
Yeah.
MJ, he was up. He was up on me a little bit earlier than I got up on him finally and turned the tables, and then we're on 16. Or we're walking on 17T, and I'm giving him shots on 17 and 18. And I forget what I said. I said something to him, and he tees the ball up. He takes a practice swing, and he goes, "It's fourth quarter, baby. I don't lose." And I'm like, "Okay, all right, here we go." This is the MJ I remember. And then obviously goes on to win 17. And then he just kind of looked at me on 18T, and then 18 green. I think he shook my hand and wanted to know where my wallet was at.
Let me get to John in New Zealand. Hey, John, good to have you back. How are you?
Good day, Dan. Danette, shout out to all the backroom boys, Mario and the crew. Dan, I think I may just have been listening to you guys for too long, because Paulie said that he would gladly turn in his sister if she had Patrick Ewing's medals.
Yeah. And
immediately I thought, well, that's because he can't turn in his dad, because his dad's dead.
Wow.
Where's that from?
Well, John, from all the way from New Zealand, and you take a shot at Paulie.
Well, all I can say, Paulie must be proud of me.
I'm not even sure that makes sense, John. I'm not even sure where the bit is there. Quite aware my dad's dead.
Wow. Wow. You have been listening too long, John.
And my dad was alive, and he stole Patrick Ewing's medals. I would have turned his ass in. I love Patrick Ewing. No offense, Dad.
Thank you, John. That's John in New Zealand with his shot at Paul. I normally don't feel bad for you, Paul, but in that situation I did.
Yes. I just didn't know where the analogy was. He's like, yeah, you're turning your sister because your dad's not like, well, my mom's still alive. You could have made the same joke and used my mom. She's perfectly fine.
Yes, Aiton.
Well, when we had the director on from The Last Dance, and he was talking about how, well, the episode, the toughest question was definitely asking Michael Jordan about his father dying and all of that stuff. And, it's just so difficult to, ask people those types of questions. All I could think of was how that was like one of my favorite bits we have going is whose dad is dead. It's like one of the funniest things.
This show leads the league in dad dead humor with Fritzy and Paulie and myself. Yeah.
At some point, Andrew's going to be like, well, I don't know. I'll call my dad.
Yeah, I know.
What he thinks.
I know. Yes, McLovin.
By the way, John in New Zealand, he might be the nicest guy I've ever met in person in my life.
Oh,
that's the funny thing.
He's a sweetheart. That's why I went. John from New Zealand is going to do this to Paulie? Man.
Made to take a 27-hour flight to kick his ass.
Best case scenario for Cam Newton now is what?
Wait for someone to get injured. We had a graphic on the show yesterday of all the starting quarterbacks that were injured last year. Remember early in the year, Cam Newton was gone week 2. Ben Roethlisberger was gone week 2. Drew Brees was gone week 2, although he came back. And I think for Cam Newton at this point, with all the seats taken, with the Patriots showing no inclination to try to add him to their depth chart, you just wait for someone to get hurt and you just assume that it'll happen. And if it doesn't, well, you keep waiting. But there isn't an opportunity out there for him. He's not going to take the Andy Dalton package of $3 million minimum plus the ability to make up to $7 million. He's just not going to do that. He's going to wait for someone to say, Cam, you are our guy. And the other reality, too, and this is what hurt him this year, the inability to go get checked out by a team doctor because he's got the foot surgery from last year, the shoulder surgery from the year before that caused him to change his throwing motion, Dan. That's how serious that situation was. He's got to get checked out before a team will sign him. And I think at this point, he should just wait until the season starts and someone calls and says, we need you right now.
We've been at this a long time, and we know how negotiations go. And you, like the Cowboys situation now borders, maybe it is embarrassing, not borders on. It's been embarrassing with Dak Prescott. It feels like there's a price, and that's it. That's the price, and if you pay the price, then we move on. Feels like everybody else got their price. Dak is saying, this is what my price is. What is the price? Like, what is the holdup here where they just don't say, we're giving you 35 a year, Dak. Here it is. Let's go. Let's move forward.
Well, here's the lesson that all teams can take from the Cowboys' experience with Dak Prescott. The longer you wait, the more expensive it will get. Yeah. The moment you know this is your guy, pay him and pay him now because it's not going to get any cheaper. The Chiefs need to be listening to that as it relates to Patrick Mahomes. The Texans need to be listening to it as it relates to Deshaun Watson. The longer you wait, the more expensive it gets. And here's where they are now. It's very simple now, Dan. It has nothing to do with the market. They've applied the exclusive franchise tag to Dak Prescott. That's $31.4 million this year. A 20% raise next year. That's another $6.2 million on top of the 31.4. That's almost $37.5 million next year. You put it together, it's $69 million over 2 years. There's your $35 million per year right there. And if Dak goes year to year, by year 3, 2022, he's entitled to a 44% raise over what he makes next year. You're talking about astronomical numbers, and the only alternative is to let him hit the open market. So he has them over a barrel, and it's their own fault because they waited this long. So all he does is sits back and waits, and he's guaranteed $31.4 million this year. The only weapon the Cowboys have left, and I don't think they'll ever use it, they just rescind the tender. And think about that. If they would remove the tender right now and make Dak Prescott a free agent, who in the hell is going to pay him $31.4 million? Who can? Everybody's got their starters. So he would be screwed financially if the Cowboys use their nuclear option of saying, all right, we're taking away the franchise tender. You're a free agent. You wanted to be a free agent. Go ahead and be one now. Good luck finding a team.
I was also wondering about this because I think we both heard from sources that, if there's a truncated season, let's say it's 12 games or 14 games, where do they take those 2 games or 4 games from? From non-conference, the front of the schedule, back of the schedule?
Yeah, I don't know at this point, but it does make sense to look at the schedule very carefully when it comes out to look for those clues. That's the first thing I'm going to do. There's been speculation that the interconference games will be the first 4 weeks of the season, and those would be the ones that would most easily be wiped out or maybe taken away and put on that back end of the schedule. Dan, I think it is very possible that the season would be delayed by up to a month to accommodate the ability to have open stadiums. That politically, it's going to be delicate in states like California to get the governors to sign off on the idea of letting anyone who chooses to show up, understanding the risks, and testing will be much more prevalent by then. It'll be easier for people to know if they've had this virus via antibody testing. But if delaying it a month allows every state that has an NFL stadium to get to the point where they'll say, go ahead, let people show up if they choose to, that's what they would do. And then I guess they could take those first 4 games and tack them onto the back end of the season if that's what they choose to do. But I'm going to be looking for that flexibility that may kind of scream out from the schedule the moment that it's released.
And I was told that, maybe we push back the Super Bowl, but I was told that the NFL would love to have the Super Bowl over President's Day weekend. You get that Monday off, so now you have that built-in holiday that people keep asking for, the unofficial day after the Super Bowl. What do you think about that?
Oh, they've been trying to get the Super Bowl to President's Day weekend for as long as I've been covering the NFL, I think. They really want to do it, and an 18th game will do it. But before we get to an 18th game, this is a way to bump the Super Bowl back a couple of weeks and get it on President's Day weekend. But look, the mere fact that there would be a Super Bowl this year, given everything we've gone through in and of itself, is a holiday. So just getting the season in, getting the Super Bowl played. I know it seems weird now because we're still in the early days, relatively speaking, of this pandemic. But I have been told with a very high degree of confidence that the world will be much different come August and September, and it will be a lot easier for sports teams to operate, not like they normally would, but in a way that actually makes sense and that manages the risks of people getting the virus.
Whoa. Where's Paul? Okay.
Now, sometimes on the top, I'll put this down as like a holder, like spackle, like caulk.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the meat products
It's a caulk off.
cinch in. It's a caulk off.
Golly, that is so good.
Braised chicken. See how it all holds it all together? I could. It's like,
You.
I don't know, I'm very excited. I could like hold this upside down and the chicken would